Hi friends, you should have printed out a bee-friendly garden. If you have that printed out, then you are ready to do the next step with me, which is to successfully go through a passage and find the answers to the comprehension questions. Later on this week, you guys will be taking your big benchmark test, which is going to just test you on everything you've learned so far in reading. You already did your math test, so you can check that off, kiss your brain. I know you did awesome on that. So before we feel completely 100% super duper great to send you off to take your benchmark, we want to make sure you know all of the strategies when you are reading a passage and answering questions. So that's what we're going to do today, okay? So I am going to go ahead and share my screen with you now. Okay, you should see my paper, and again, it always does this. Second time's a charm, let's see. All right, you should be able to see a bee-friendly garden. So today we're going to answer, or actually we're going to read it first, answer it together, and then tomorrow you will try one on your own. So the very first thing we want to do is we always want to make sure that we number the passage, okay? So we're going to number the paragraph. So let's go ahead and number 1. Remember, every chunk we see is a paragraph. 2, 3, 4. Then over here we have 5, 6, and 7. All right? So here we go. You're reading along with me as I'm reading aloud. Our lives would be different without bees. Bees help plants grow. Many of these plants produce the fruits and vegetables we eat. Without bees, many of the fruits and vegetables that we enjoy eating could not grow. Bees are truly wonderful creations. So let's stop and talk about this because this is totally author's point of view. We know the topic is about what? Bees, right? And just by reading this first paragraph, we know that the author likes bees. They have a positive point of view on bees, all right? Keep reading. Yet the number of bees is now low. It is getting even lower. Scientists are unsure why. Some people are fearful for their future. They think that bees may die off. We must do something about this problem. One solution is to make our gardens bee-friendly. All right, so let's stop and think about, in paragraph 1, we know that it's kind of just introducing the bees, right? Our lives would be different without bees. Bees are helpful. So we're going to kind of write some notes. So let's go ahead next to paragraph 1 and write bees equal helpful. Okay? And then next to paragraph 2, what did we read about? That bees are starting to die off, right? And that people want to solve the problem by making bee-friendly gardens. So we could say a couple things. Bees are dying. Okay, do you agree? All right, let's look at the next, and that should be next to paragraph 2. Let's look at the next paragraph. One of the most careless things to do is spray insect killer. Insect killer does work. It kills the insects that eat plants, but it can also be harmful to bees. I didn't know that. Some insect killers can kill the bee before it returns to the hive. Other insect killers can get carried back by bees. This could harm the rest of the hive. Insect pests can be controlled in other ways. For example, ladybugs and praying mantises eat pests. Wiping insect soap on plant leaves can also kill pests. These two methods do not harm bees. So this paragraph here talks about the insect killer is really harmful and it's killing the bees. So let's next to that one write insect killer equals kills bees. All right, paragraph 4. Making our gardens bee-friendly can also add to the bee population. Planting a bee garden is a great idea. Bee gardens can provide nectar and pollen for the bees. A successful bee garden would have flowers that bloom over the spring, summer, and fall. The flowers need to be planted in bunches of like flowers. The garden would also have different types of plants that are closely grouped together. So this author feels very strongly about what? Bee-friendly gardens, right? And they can be helpful. So bee-friendly gardens equals helpful. Okay, so I've been modeling, let's stop and think for a minute. I've been modeling not only reading, but after I read each paragraph, I'm stopping and I'm thinking about what is this paragraph about? And I'm writing notes on the side. Now you might be wondering, why is Mrs. Harp doing that? This is an excellent strategy to help me when I need to go back and find the answers. And I'm going to show you how that's helpful very soon. But also make note that I'm not writing every single thing I read. I'm just writing 3, maybe 4 words, sometimes just 1 or 2 words about the paragraph so that it's easy for me. If you are taking 2 minutes to write something down for your notes, you're taking too long, okay? So remember that when you try on your own tomorrow. All right, so we're on paragraph 5. Many people believe that all bees live in hives. This is untrue. Some bees dig into the ground. There they build their nests and lay their eggs. When people lay wood chips or other materials on the ground, the bees cannot dig nests. So here is another good way to help bees. When you are working outside, leave loose dirt in flower beds and gardens. So this is just kind of talking about how to protect the bees, right? Paragraph 6. Some bees nest in old pieces of wood. Still others build nests in holes in buildings or trees. Gardens can be made to provide space like these for bees. Trees or walls that block wind are a good idea. So are shady areas. These help bees to escape the hot sun. Trees and overhangs can protect bees from hard rains. Bee gardens also provide bees with water. Bees need water just like people do. All right, so what do the bees need? They need water and shady areas. Trees and overhangs can protect them. So need water and maybe we could say trees. Last paragraph. Making a bee-friendly garden is far from a useless task. The rewards are worth the effort. A bee-friendly garden is beautiful and colorful. Most importantly, it keeps bees healthy and happy. Right here, the author is repeating all of their opinions and their thoughts. And it's mainly about what? Bee-friendly gardens help the bees, right? And we could even do this. Bee-friendly gardens and put a happy face equals it's good, right? Okay. So now that we've taken our notes, we're going to go ahead and look at the questions. All right. What text evidence best summarizes the author's point of view about bees? So stop and think about what they're asking us, okay? Which one of these choices pretty much tells us the author's point of view? We know that the author likes, so their point of view has to be positive. So let's see, what did they talk about pretty much the whole time? Bees help plants grow. Did it talk about that much? No. Bees are truly wonderful creatures? Maybe. Some people are fearful for their future. They talked about that, but was that all about it? No. Without bees, many of the fruits and vegetables that we enjoy eating could not grow. I think they mentioned that. But if the author keeps talking about wanting to keep the bees alive, I'm going to go with B. Bees are truly wonderful creatures. That is their viewpoint because that's why they want to have bee-friendly gardens, right? Because they like bees. All right, look at number 2. Read these sentences from the article. You read it in your head as I read it aloud. Many people believe that all bees live in hives. That is untrue. The prefix un means not. Which answer choice uses un in the same way as untrue? All right, if I cover up un, I have the root word true. So I'm going to do that whenever I have a question, and I hope you do too. I'm going to either cover up or cross it out and see if it's a root word. So if I get rid of on here, I have der. Is that a root word? Is that a word that can be by itself? No way. Okay, let's look at the next one. Ited? Is that a word by itself? Nope. All right, what about this one? If I get rid of un, lucky? Is lucky a root word by itself? Yeah. All right, let's see what this one is. We get rid of un, till. Till's a word, but not a word that a proper word. So our answer should be H. Number 3, what text evidence best summarizes the author's point of view about bee gardens? All right, we know they like bee gardens, right? Planting a bee garden is a great idea. Did they say that several times? Yes. We always read all the answers though. Bee gardens can provide nectar and pollen for the bees. Does that best summarize their feelings on bee gardens? When people lay wood chips or other materials on the ground, the bees cannot dig nests. Does that talk about how they feel about a bee garden? No. A successful bee garden would have flowers that bloom over the spring, summer, and fall. Well, that does talk about bee gardens. But the question says, what text evidence best summarizes the author's point of view? So their feelings on bee gardens. I want you to bubble one in. You should have picked A because that proves that they think it's a great idea. This one doesn't say anything about their thoughts or feelings, right? All right, because they're doing a good job. 3 more to go. Read the sentence from the article. A successful bee garden would have flowers that bloom over the spring, summer, and fall. What does successful mean? All right, well, successful is a word that has the opposite of what we looked at on the other page. it has a root word, and then it has a suffix that's at the end. So successful means full of success. So which one would be similar or close? Does successful mean full of sun? No. Full of plants? No. Full of beautiful things? If you're successful, doesn't always mean beautiful, no. Full of positive things? Yes. You should have done I. All right. The suffix full, as in colorful, means full of. Someone who is fearful is what? Are they afraid, excited, proud, or tired? Bubble in your answer. If you're fearful, you are afraid. And people, remember, we're fearful of bees. We're afraid of bees dying off, right? All right, last one. Based on evidence from the text, the author would most likely agree with the idea that, all right, let's see. Planting a bee garden is a useless task. Well, if we go back and we look at our notes, we have a whole bunch of positive notes about bees and bee gardens. So if it's useless, that's not positive. The dirt in the bee garden should not be loose. The dirt in the garden should be loose, right? So that the bees can get out. Wiping soap on plants' leaves does not kill pests. It does. That was a healthy way to kill the pests, right? Bee gardens should have many flowers that are planted closely together. Is that proof that the author would agree with? Is that something that the author would agree with? Yes, because it was in the text. Right here on paragraph 4, the garden would have different types of flowers that are closely grouped together. So you should have bubbled in I for that. All right, guys, that is how we successfully take a reading test. And I'm going to unshare my screen real quick with you, and I just want to have a quick talk. A lot of times, especially when I'm not with you, I can't encourage you and keep you focused as much as I would at school. So we're in 3rd grade now, and 3rd grade is a really important time where we're going to have to take a lot of reading tests, and that's really how we prove that we're understanding what we're reading, because in 3rd grade, you know how to read now, but the big skill is to be able to prove that you understand what you're reading. So a lot of times, these stories might not be our favorite stories. We might kind of feel irritated or frustrated. But we've really got to focus, pay attention, and do our best work, okay? So I appreciate you sitting nicely and going through the story with me and taking notes. Now you know the correct way to take a reading test. And hopefully tomorrow, you'll be able to do that successfully on your own. All right, I'll talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye.